Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Olivia Brister, Bartow High School's valedictorian.
Class of 2016, our graduation day is here. After 13 years of waiting, here we are, sitting in our caps and gowns, waiting to receive our diplomas. All this waiting for a piece of paper that will essentially do nothing. Let me explain. You cannot cash this diploma in for money. You can't have an interview for you or sit in class at your selected college. You could possibly eat it, although I wouldn't recommend it. Although our diplomas visibly represent our accomplishments, our true measure of accomplishment rests within us, and our true attainment of success does not halt after high school. With the acquisition of this piece of paper and the completion of 13 years of education, we must look back to thank those who have helped us strive for greatness and allowed us to be sitting here today. Counselors, administrators, teachers, family members, and cherished friends, your babies have finally made it. I would like to personally thank everyone who has allowed me to be standing here today, from my teachers and friends in Sarasota to the ones who have been supportive of me ever since I came to Bartow almost 2 years ago. Fellow graduates, every moment since we stepped into the doors of elementary school and first learned our ABCs has led to this one. So class of 2016, this afternoon, I'd like to present you with a new set of ABCs. A, admit your fears for the sole purpose of overcoming them. The fears you do not face will become your limits. Fear failure, ensure your own success. Fear loneliness, become someone you would enjoy spending time with. Fear death, find Jesus. Admit your fears, but never let them define you. B, believe in your ability to succeed on your own. Do not let the aspirations or success of another person intimidate you or allow you to put confinements on your own ambitions. Do not ever allow anyone to define how you see yourself, who you see yourself becoming, and what you see yourself accomplishing. Believe, despite all impediments and obstructions, that you truly can become a person you can be proud of if you stop adhering to other people's definition of success. I know many of your stories, and I am telling you that if you measure yourself up against a person who has faced little opposition in their lifetime, you will never be successful. And if you face little opposition, but set your standards at the same place as someone who has, you are doing them a disservice by not taking advantage of the opportunities they have spent their entire life working to attain. B, believe in your ability to succeed, but never ever base your vision of success off of anyone other than yourself. And C, change the world. Robert Kennedy famously stated, "Few will have the greatness to bend history itself, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events." It is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. So today, I ask you to think about your passions and pursuits. My father, who passed away in March, used to always say he would live to see 97 and then go happily. He died far short of that. But he taught me that it's okay to dream as if you'll reach 97, but you must live as if you'll die tomorrow. Or as Drake put it, live for today, plan for tomorrow. Friends and classmates, our time on this earth is so incredibly short that you cannot waste a single second doing something that doesn't further your passions and lighten the load of our posterity. So I ask you to think right now about what you want to pursue and ask yourself, will this make me a better person? If you can assuredly answer yes, then ask yourself, will this make my community a better place? If you can definitively say it will, then ask yourself, will this make the world a better place? If you can unquestionably give an affirmative answer, then do not stop, do not slow down, but run unwaveringly towards the goals you have laid out for yourself and see, change the world. Class of 2016, take in this moment, take in all that you've achieved, but don't let it stop there. You have unlimited potential to change the world, and I have no doubt that you will. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm David Perez, and to those sitting before me, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, teachers, and most of all, graduates of the class of 2016, Congratulations. I am honored to have the privilege of speaking on such momentous occasion. Alfred Lord Tennyson ended his poem Ulysses with the line, "To strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield." And indeed, I have done so. I am graduating as the valedictorian of this class today. As for my fellow graduates, we have come here tonight to reap more than the combined result of the thirst, hunger, exhaustion, and sleepless nights we encountered en route to this thrilling moment. It is by no mere accident or coincidence that phenomenal things have happened this year. It has been the outcome of our ambition to do our personal best, to persist, persevere, and perfect ourselves, to work as individuals and as a team. Today, our many hours of hard work have finally paid off. On behalf of the graduates, I speak the following for them. The accomplishments of this class would not have been possible without the assistance, encouragement, and guidance of our parents and teachers, counselors and coaches, and the overall motivation of the school community as a whole. To these models, I say, our success is your success, for you have instilled within us the bravery to dare, the intelligence to excel, and the confidence that we can succeed. For all these things, we, the class of 2016, thank every single one of you. Today is no small feat. It is perhaps the most important achievement most of you can claim to this day. The countless amount of opportunities your diploma will enable you to attain is without doubt, and I encourage all of you to pursue what is most dear to you. Pursue that in which you feel you can make a difference. I extend my gratitude to a select few of my most influential and inspiring mentors, Miss Alani, Miss Hughes, Ms. DeBello, Ms. Pratt, Mr. Johnston, and two of the best counselors, Mrs. Paul and Ms. Bird. I would also like to recognize 5 very important friends and supporters, Lily, Karina, Bianca, Noah, and Zaria. And to my mother, who has been my father and hero, I treasure your unconditional love and support. Mommy, I hope I made you proud. Thank you all for coming to witness this incredibly special day. Congratulations, happy graduation, and best of luck to the Haines City High School class of 2016. Farewell. Our next speaker is Roselle Baums, the valedictorian of IB.
Good evening, friends, family, faculty, and arguably the most hardworking and best-looking class Haines City High has ever graduated. Fellow graduates, in the next few days, we'll be asking ourselves important questions like, who am I? Who do I want to be? And most importantly, how much food do I get with a regular meal plan? Having gone to school, taken the tests, and done the homework, or not done the homework, it's pretty easy to get wrapped up in GPAs, letter grades, and statistics. For the past 4 years, it seems that our intelligence, our self-worth, and our self-esteems were rooted in these numbers. And as we go out into the real world, it'll be easy to similarly define ourselves as numbers on a weighing scale or figures on a pay stub. But the secret that our teachers and parents and friends have been subtly teaching us since day one is that the world isn't full of statistics. I did the math, and by math I mean I Googled it, and each of us make up only 0.2% of the graduating class. Yet, one of those 0.2% became my very first friend on campus. Another 0.2% stayed with me for 3 hours after school because my ride was late. And there's an entire group of 0.2% right here that have suffered through every tear shed because of a failed math quiz, an essay, an IB paper 100% of the time. So yes, things will be different. And yes, we will make so many mistakes. We will live the cliche of falling in love and falling out of love, failing and succeeding, falling down and getting back up. What we won't do, however, is allow ourselves to become nothing more than a statistic. Let's be the however many percent that beat the odds. Congratulations, class of 2016. We made it.
George Jenkins, class of 2016. Congratulations on the completion of your secondary education. 31 years ago, my mom became valedictorian of her high school, and I am so fortunate to continue this memorable family tradition. I'd like to thank our parents, teachers, and friends for constant support throughout high school. All 720 days of high school leading up to today were comprised of hard work, early mornings, and perpetual hours of studying and athletic practice. However, time passed unknowingly, and now we have reached graduation in what feels like a fraction of a second. Today, as you enter the threshold of adulthood, you no longer have to worry about being late to class, falling asleep during a test, or forgetting your lunch. Now, the world demands something different. The world demands kindness. Being kind and honest makes a positive difference, not only in your own life, but in the lives of others. As you travel to unfamiliar places full of unknown people, please remember that compassion and generosity will carry you exactly where you want to be. Thank you.
Good afternoon. When I was told that Caitlin had asked for me to introduce her as this year's valedictorian, a wave of pride and honor swept over me. Next came a wave of terror as I realized I'd have to speak in front of all of you. As a teacher, nothing gives me more joy than to see a student succeed. Caitlin has given me that joy. Many times I would see her walking to class with one of her latest ceramic projects, and she would give me the shrug of her shoulders and say, "I tried." The thing is that her project would be wonderful, and whether it be in ceramics, AP English, or AP Government, Caitlin could be counted on to give it her all and do her very best. Even now, as she finishes high school, she won't be taking a well-deserved break. No gap year for her. Instead, she's enrolled in college and is nearly a month into classes. I know that with such dedication and perseverance, her goals will be achieved before long. While I have only known Caitlin this past school year, the young woman that I've gotten to know is one that is sweet, conscientious, and dedicated to improving herself and ultimately the world. Kathleen is lucky to have had such a student as she. And as she continues on her educational journey, she goes knowing that the love and support she received here at Kathleen was sincere and that we wish her the very best. Without any further ado, I present this year's class valedictorian, Caitlin Weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper, for that generous introduction. Good evening. Welcome, fellow graduates and distinguished guests. Graduates, the days were long, but the years were short. I'm sure there were times whenever we didn't know if we would make it to this day, that we worried about that test that would make or break our grade. But despite all of the obstacles working against us, we made it. However, our journey does not end here. We will be going out into the real world. We were once clueless, scared freshmen, not knowing how to navigate our way around campus, but now we are young adults, fearing that we aren't ready to embark our journey. I assure you that things will be okay. Do not fear the future, because you are the only one who can decide how it will turn out. Each decision you make can change your life completely. Know that you are more than capable of achieving your goals. In George Sanders' words, success is like a mountain that keeps growing ahead of you as you hike. However, even if the trail gets rocky, keep going. It doesn't matter if you're crawling, as long as you don't stop, then you are making progress. As you strive towards success, do not be afraid to fail. If you fail, just dust off and try again. The only way you fail is if you stop trying. And remember, success does not mean making a lot of money. Success is doing what makes you happy and being able to have peace within you when you rest your head at night. You can make straight A's in school but still flunk life. Treat yourself and others right. Be kind and compassionate. Be honest and love wholeheartedly. If you are capable of helping someone, do it. We are all trying to navigate our way through life, and the least we could do is make it easier by radiating kindness and not settling for negativity. I would like to take a moment to thank a few individuals. I would like to thank my parents for being my biggest source of support. I would also like to thank Karen Yamano and Catherine Kazansky for not giving up on me, even though I can be repetitive. Lastly, I would like to thank Mr. Cooper for not only caring about my grades, but for caring about how I was feeling. In closing, my wish for you seniors is that if life is a game and you are the referee, that you'll be biased for once and let happiness win. Thank you.
It is my honor to introduce an outstanding graduate who has achieved the highest academic position in her class. When asked to describe her, teachers have used words such as intelligent, knowledgeable, dependable, meticulous, accomplished, diligent, responsible, and organized. These traits have enabled her to maintain the highest academic rank in her class for all 4 years while completing rigorous coursework, including 5 college classes, 8 advanced placement courses, and 15 honors level classes. Ultimately, she ended her high school career with an outstanding 4.614 grade point average. As part of her 446 hours of service to the community, she assisted Mrs. DeMesa in setting up labs and preparing the solutions for various experiments in chemistry and in biotechnology. A quiet, unassuming student, she rapidly absorbed knowledge and was quick to share that knowledge to guide and assist her fellow students in biotech. In my recent and lengthy conversation with Mrs. DeMesa, she expressed her great regard and respect for this future research scientist. While maintaining her serious focus on academics, this pleasant, polite young lady also found time to brighten the lives of patients at Lakeland Regional Hospital by assisting in the gift shop, delivering flowers, and assisting with discharge. In her spare time, she gave more hours of service through Key Club activities, and she participated on the A team, which competed at the district finals this year. Affirming the academic talent and ability of this aspiring bio-researcher, the University of Florida has awarded her the prestigious Bio-S Scholarship, covering almost all of the cost of tuition, room, board, and books for her bachelor's and her master's degrees, an honor bestowed upon fewer than 10 incoming students annually. Though I have had the honor of knowing this amazing Lake Gibson graduate for only 2 years, I feel her math teacher, Ms. Lynn Wells, described her well. She was a pure joy, always gave 100%, and always had a smile. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present the valedictorian for the Lake Gibson High School class of 2016, Ms. Alexis Boleyn Bolger.
Good evening, Lake Gibson Braves, class of 2016 graduates, family, friends, and administrators. The opening line in Charles Dickens' iconic novel, A Tale of Two Cities, describes high school perfectly well. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the best of times because of all the wonderful memories I made, especially the time I spent in Mrs. Miller's 7th period AP Euro this year, and the friends I've made these 4 years who have constantly supported me and made each day better than the last. The worst of times were when I watched tons of Khan Academy videos, hoping I would understand whatever we were learning in calculus until we got to the test. This year was the most stressful year of high school, and I often struggled with deadlines, but the hardest part for me was the monotony of it all. All too often, we allow ourselves to become so easily cluttered and weighed down with all the responsibilities and commitments that make up our everyday lives that things may seem dull. Then the question is simple. How do we maintain the optimism, resolve, and energy in the face of such monotony and predictability? As Langston Hughes once said, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." Set concrete goals for yourself, no matter how small they may be. Remind yourself of them daily. Write them down, tell them to others, and find a path towards them. Don't let the dust settle, shake it. And keep in mind that, in Albert Einstein's words, only those who attempt the absurd can achieve the impossible. Do not be weighed down by what you have not yet achieved, but always remember what you have accomplished and those who have helped you arrive there. Without the constant, unwavering support of my siblings and my parents, especially my 3 sisters, I would not be where I am today. Thank you to Mrs. DeMesa and Miss Beebe for keeping my passion for science alive, even amongst all the Common Core. Thank you to Mrs. Miller for all the fun history lessons. Your class was my anchor this year. Always remember to have courage and be kind. There is good in this world, and it is worth fighting for. Even in the worst of times, even when you fail, always have the courage to stand back up and learn from that. You will not always succeed, but each time you lose, you will get better. Hope is often forged in total darkness because only in darkness can stars be seen. It is as much an action as a feeling. No one single person knows what their future holds, but your future is not written in stone. With passion, time, and a strong support system, I know that each of you will achieve your goals, whether they be going to college, joining the military, or entering the workforce. Surpass everyone's expectations, even your own, and live every second to the fullest. Live through all the pain, live through all the tears, live through all the laughs, and live through all the smiles, because the future is worth it. The future is worth the fight. I know most of you are probably thinking, this is the most I've ever heard her talk, but I just have one more thing to say. From the words of the great Shel Silverstein, listen to the mustn'ts, child, listen to the don'ts, listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child, anything can be.
And now, giving the address of the valedictorian, Ms. Yasmin Hernandez.
Good evening, respected guests, members of the community, staff, family, friends, and fellow graduates. On behalf of my class, I want to thank you for joining us today and for being the people who have shaped and molded us into the great pool of youth that stands here today. I would also like to thank all of my family, my teachers, and my guidance counselor, Ms. Cobb, for believing in me until the very end. It is my honor to be valedictorian for the class of 2016 and to have received such merits as to have been given the privilege to write an extra homework assignment and then read it in a crowd of more than 600 people. Since this speech is one big cliche, I would like to start with a few cliches that we have heard throughout high school. Rome was not built in a day. Work smarter, not harder. Give 110%. Think outside the box. What the mind can conceive, the mind can achieve. The early bird catches the worm. And it all comes down to this. But I want to let you in a little secret. This is not the end. This is only the first chapter in our story. High school is not the highlight of our lives. Today, many of us will be seeing our friends for the last time. Parents will be sad after sending their children far, far away, or happy, whatever the case may be. But fellow classmates, let us not be sad today, because today is a celebration of all our successes, of all our failures, of all the good times and the bad times, the friends made and the friends lost, and of all those amazing and frustrating teachers. Being a graduate of Lake Region High School means you will be left on your own to conquer the real world, in which there is no more hand-holding, no more living with mom and dad, and sadly no more pizza day. Graduating means using your education to be successful and to give back to the community that we have been so blessed to come from. Yet recalling the 14th president, or the derivative of 5x squared, is not the education that will make you change the world. By the way, it's Franklin Pierce and 10x. Just saying. Albert Einstein once said, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten everything he learned in school." Lake Region has given us just that. We have learned how to learn and have been taught not so much what to think, but how to think. And that is the true value of our Lake Region education. More than anything, I urge you all to dream and to dare. Don't be afraid of failing in your aspirations. Look around you. Everyone in this room is a leader. We have all gone through high school, which is no easy feat. But most importantly, we went through it together. Thank you. I love you all. And congratulations, class of 2016.
When I reflect on this year's Lakeland High School valedictorian, the most distinct characteristic that fills me with awe is her extraordinary academic accomplishments. Or not. Or maybe her accomplishments in fashion design in the equestrian world. No, still not. Perhaps jaw-dropping for me is her love of shoes, which rivals my own. But no, actually, what seems to surprise and impress me most about this very accomplished young woman are her mechanical gifts. Oh, you heard right. In addition to a dizzying list of accolades, Emily Everett, our LHS Class of 2016 valedictorian, is a talented mechanic who will describe for you in detail a transfer case, a master cylinder, even universal joints and oil pans. Oh, and in addition to knowing her way around wheels, and not just any wheels, an international scout, mind you, Emily is a superb baker who often prepared and packaged homemade goodies for her teachers. Emily Everett destroys the stereotype of the high school valedictorian who has her head in the books 24/7. She is living fully and roundly, even in the midst of constantly learning at the highest level of rigor, challenging all of us who have had the privilege to teach her to keep up or become left behind in her dust. A third-generation graduate of Lakeland High School, Emily has proudly traveled the same halls as her grandfather, class of 1957, and her father, class of 1985. Being a part of this chain of LHS tradition fills Emily with as much pride as any of her accolades, because she is, above all, a lover of family. On her way to the University of Richmond, after having earned a stunning 4.738 GPA, receiving distinct department awards throughout our campus on an annual basis, garnering creative writing awards, earning the distinction of AP Scholar, and this year taking her place as a National Merit Scholar. It is difficult to imagine anyone coming behind her and stepping into her footsteps. Emily Everett, however, would not wish for anyone to emulate her accomplishments. Indeed, she would tell them, I'm sure in her own definitive, no-nonsense voice, become a trailblazer in your own right. See a problem? Be a part of the solution. But better yet, create the solution. Establish your own identity, not for self-promotion, but on behalf of your community and beyond. And indeed, Emily's identity is inseparable from her actions that have impacted the quality of life for so many. 2 organizations where Emily served as both charter member and founder are the Mayor's Youth Council, where students work collaboratively with city officials in order to promote development in Lakeland, and the Ridge Riders Charity Horse Show, an organization that is dedicated to raising money to feeding Polk County's underprivileged children, one that has proven itself more than capable of doing so because of the vision, motivation, and dedication of Emily and other volunteers. Earning 384 community service hours in existing and innovative programs, it is easy to see why this young scholar earned the prestigious Silver Garland Award in Citizenship this year. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege to welcome to the podium your 2016 Lakeland High School valedictorian, Miss Emily Everett.
Hey guys. When I first realized I had the opportunity to speak at the commencement ceremony this morning, I found myself with a very uncharacteristic lack of words. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I couldn't seem to find a cohesive message to impart upon the class of 2016, at least one that we haven't all heard before. I decided not to give a speech on how we have evolved over the last 4 years. If I had given that speech, I would have spoken about how we went from being clueless to thinking that maybe we knew something, to realizing the only thing we knew about was stress. But I'm not giving that speech. Sorry. If I had given a speech on how each of us has a bright future and how everything would always be fantastic, I would have been lying. And while I'm not giving that speech either, if I had given that speech, I would have mentioned the fact that life doesn't get easier after this. It gets harder. That's why they call it work. But I would also have said that our collective future is not nearly as bleak as that makes it sound, and that we will find successes to offset the failures, and that we will undoubtedly have the talents and abilities to prevail. But I'm not giving that speech. I considered giving a speech on the legacy that we, the class of 2016, joined today. If I had given that speech, I would have mentioned that we join 127 years of history today. I would have asked the alumni present to please stand and be recognized. Stand, if you don't mind. I would have noted that we joined the ranks of professional athletes, of judges, of senators and congressmen, of Olympians, of concert pianists, of humanitarians and philanthropists, and even of Miss America 1953. I would then have asked members of current and retired military and those graduates entering the military to please stand and be recognized. I might have mentioned that you, class of 2016, join a legacy that spans all branches of the military, a legacy that reaches from enlisted men to commander and general. But alas, I decided not to give that speech either. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering what speech I am giving. I'm not so much going to give you a speech as I am going to issue a few challenges to you, class of 2016, and then to share my hope for all of us. I challenge you to be bold. Do things that make people wonder whether you're crazy or stupid or maybe just brilliant. Be brave. Next, I challenge you to make friends. In the future, none of you will remember what I've said here, but you will remember the relationships you had with people. So I challenge you to build relationships, because relationships are what make life worth living. Last, I challenge you to be better than yourself. Be better tomorrow than you are today, and strive to be better than you think you can become. Whatever you do, don't settle. And finally, I would like to mention my personal wish for the Lakeland High School class of 2016. I hope that each of us finds the opportunity to be great, to be happy, and most importantly, to be great at what makes us happy. Thank you, and good luck.
Paper, a blank slate for endless possibilities. To write, to draw, to fold. I know you're sitting there right now thinking, really? This guy is doing his speech about a piece of paper? But I propose this question. Are we not here tonight to receive a piece of paper? A coveted piece of cardstock. Join me as we remember an ordinary piece of paper. Do you remember kindergarten? Our first introduction to writing? It was on that funny paper with the wide lines and the little dashes between the lines. Remember the thrill we got when we could scratch out our names between the solid lines and the dashes? It was our first accomplishment on paper. Skipping a few years, we find ourselves in the 3rd grade. We're big shots. We do not use paper just for writing. We have big ideas. We want to fold it, play with it, turn it into a projectile missile, fly it. Instead of copying spelling words, it was more fun to strategically sit at your desk, behind the person in front of you. Fold the paper in half vertically, fold a triangle at the top, give it a point, fold over some wings, and when the teacher wasn't looking, let it soar. At least, that's what the boys did. The girls, on the other hand, they were busy wondering about their futures, their fortunes. Hence, they created the paper, the fortune teller foldable. Only, we did not know it was called a foldable back then. The fortune teller, a moving group of triangular points. The person chooses a color, followed by a number. When the chosen number is open, the fortune or future is revealed. If we were to try it out right now, I would choose blue for mulberry. I would choose 1, because we're number 1, we're mulberry. I believe our fortune would say, Winners are we. We are graduating 2016. Yes, paper was important in elementary school. Spelling tests, math problems, artwork for the refrigerator, a Mother's Day card. Parents, do you still have those cards? Do you have our artwork that adorned your refrigerator from so many years ago? Sure you do, because it was important to you. We were important to you, and we still are. And how could we forget? Third grade began what seemed like a lifetime of testing, standardized testing, filling in the bubbles, stress, worries, insecurities. All our efforts are awarded or denied in a couple hours of testing. Someone turned education into endless testing, bubble filling. What did this prepare us for? What bubble will we fill after graduation? I dare say to all educators here, life is not a multiple choice question. Now let's go to middle school. We have printed schedules. We carry around a piece of paper to new electives, new academics. We begin to explore. We're now a part of the social community. We develop cliques and groups, and some of us are in love. Girls use paper to write endless love notes. Boys, on the other hand, we're not so mature with our love notes or writing skills. We prefer to use paper to hone our skill of sport, thus, the paper football. And of course, paper was still a part of our ever-increasing standardized testing, 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. More endless bubbles to fill, and then the big day arrived. We were on the threshold of Mulberry High School. Talk about rigor. Every class, every teacher wanted paper. The paper for finding X in Algebra 1, the more we found X, the more paper we needed. Paper for topic sentences, for writing a thesis, for short responses, for the FCAT. We conducted labs, created hypotheses, used paper for graphs, paper for watercolors, paper to write music scores, paper for football plays. Our senior year, more complexities. Instead of finding X in one sheet of paper, we now use 3 sheets to find the slope of 2 points on a line. Short responses quickly became essays. Light reading turned into novels. We were the Mulbaneys, the largest reading assignment I ever had. So many pages, so much paper. Quizzes became higher order challenges, and those challenges have prepared us for the future, and that future begins today. Each of us are about to receive a neatly packaged piece of paper. It is unequal in value. It may look the same, but it's different. Maybe you're the first in your family to receive it. Maybe you're the last. Many of you will use this piece of paper to begin your post-secondary education. Some of you will use it to gain entrance into the military, yet others will provide it to an employer for an entry-level work position. As you can see, this piece of paper, called a diploma, is extremely important. We worked hard for 13 years to achieve it. Our teachers were there to guide us, to counsel us, to teach us. They have done their jobs well, and we thank them for that. And that brings us to this moment. As your name is called and you walk across the stage, you will be handed a piece of paper. It is really special. Hold it close, treasure it, and then go forth and do something with it, for it's more than just a piece of paper.
Completing 11 AP and 9 dual enrollment courses through Polk State College, our valedictorian boasts a 4.577 weighted GPA. Since entering Ridge Community High School in the fall of 2012, she has excelled in numerous school organizations, holding offices in student government as class representative, treasurer, and senior class president. While a member of the Tri-M, our International Honors Music Organization, she has served as historian, vice president, and president. Through these organizations, she has completed over 300 hours of community service. This year, she has represented Ridge Community High School as a superintendent scholar and a Silver Garland nominee for music. Blessed with an angelic voice, the trained skill to play the piano, our valedictorian plans to attend Florida State University to major in music therapy with goals to become a music therapist at a children's hospital. sharing her love of music and theater to help soothe and heal children in need. Because of her impressive music skills, Florida State has offered her 2 scholarships, both totaling $11,000. Congratulations to the class of 2016's valedictorian, Emily May Gabriel.
All right, there we go. When I was told Wednesday afternoon that I had to hand in a speech by 9 o'clock the next morning, I did not think much of it at first because, as all of you I am sure know very well, senior year had prepared us alarmingly well for turning in assignments last minute. But this speech was no U.S. History FRQ or a list of 60 text-based economics questions. It was supposed to capture my 4-year experience at Ridge Community High School. I have now come to realize, however, that even if I had had years to prepare the speech, I could never fully capture all that I have learned during my time spent at Ridge. There were far too many influential teachers and inspiring students that had become an integral part of my life to fit into a 3 to 5 minute summary. So, this afternoon, you will be hearing a caffeine-infused conglomeration of a few more prominent memories and realizations of my high school career. It all began even before my first day as a Bolt. I was a lanky 8th grader who had not yet grown into my overwhelming mane of hair, terrified of losing sight of my best friend whom I had known since the womb. It was 8th grade preview day over on the Ridge, and I was not too thrilled to hear that I'd be separated from my DSA family and thrown into a melting pot of other preteens to tour the campus. When the day had come to an end, I hurried to be reunited with the familiarity of Sarah Milovets in an attempt to escape the mass exodus of middle schoolers from the auditorium. Somewhere along the lines of my pursuit, I had managed to knock over one of the false trees that stood in the lobby, bringing unwanted attention to a significantly awkward 14-year-old Emily. And that is my first memory of my first day on Ridge soil. I prefer to tell this memory over that of my actual first day of school, because the only thing I can remember from that day is being sent to choice for a dress code violation by my freshman geometry teacher. I love you, Mr. Sharp. These were just the first of the many memories that I would add to my high school experience, a large portion of them just as uncomfortable, but fortunately for me, just as many were wonderful. If I could acknowledge all of my friends and teachers and the tremendous impact they've had on my life and my development as a person, we'd all be here for a while. So to those people who will remain unnamed, but you know who you are, thank you. Thank you for always providing me with comfort, for never failing to untangle the knotted workings of my mind, and for accepting me in my entirety, flaws and all. And my deepest gratitude I send to my family. My mother has said more than once that I've done all of this on my own and that it was all me. I hate to break it to you, Mom, but this is one of the rare occasions where you're wrong. I would not be standing here today with all of my accomplishments behind me without you and all that you've done for me. I don't know of anyone more patient, understanding, and wise than you. Your advice over the years has saved me from failures and has brought me out of my darkest times. Each time you told me, this too shall pass. You've been everything that I've ever needed, and I strive to be like you. Passionate, understanding, selfless, and fearless. And to my stepdad, thank you for accepting me with open arms and for challenging me to think outside the box. I have so much respect for who you are and what you stand for. Thank you both for encouraging my interests in music and for allowing me to become immersed in your own world of music. And to my dad, thank you for always providing me with the resources I needed to further my music career and for always pushing me to go for every opportunity that I stumble across. And to Nana, it looks like I certainly did bring my B up. Few are as lucky as I to have such a large support system, and I cannot thank you all enough for what you've done for me. I love you all so much. On the wall across from my bed hangs a framed Chinese proverb that reads, "Keep a green tree in your heart and a singing bird will come." Given to me by my stepdad years ago, this proverb summarizes the philosophy by which I aim to live my life. It is my strongly held belief that, more so than anything else, it is important to be kind and selfless. You can have talent, intelligence, and beauty, but without a compassionate soul, you won't get very far. I hope you all realize the significance of this, because this quality is not innate, but instead something that everyone here today has the opportunity to acquire. And when you allow this green tree in your heart to grow, everything else will surely fall into place. Our generation has acquired a rather large responsibility. The world today is ever-changing and riddled with complex issues and intolerance. We are now the ones tasked with settling the problems of the present and establishing this earth as a safe and accepting planet on which we can coexist with one another. I have so much faith in all of you that you have the ability to make a difference. To start, whatever it is that you choose to do,
Do what you love for the sake of your happiness. Speak up, take risks, never stop learning and exploring, and always challenge yourself. By the words of my favorite fictional teacher, Mr. Keating, you must strive to find your own voice, because the longer you wait to begin, the less likely you are to find it at all. Let this voice guide the way in which you move through the world, and never let it be quieted when faced with opposition. We are told that high school encompasses the best 4 years of your life, but I have to respectfully disagree. There is so much more waiting for us out there. The possibilities are interminable. If this frightens or intimidates you, do not worry, because you are not alone. We all have fears for our future, because so much is uncertain. But the only way to overcome these hesitations you hold is to jump headfirst into the rest of your life, keeping your dreams and wishes in mind every step of the way. I wish you all the best of luck with this process and hope that you never question your worth or your ability to achieve your dreams. Congratulations, class of 2016, we did it.
Thank you, Ms. Mason, and thank you to Deanna for that fantastic and wonderful speech. My first meeting with our valedictorian was at the end of her freshman year. Allison and her mother were seeking more information about the Opportunity Scholarship that allowed students to transfer to other high schools. Being a 4.0 student, she was not seeking a transfer, but seeking reassurance that we're going to prepare her academically. In that meeting, it became obvious that she was dedicated to academic excellence. Over the next 3 years, there were many conversations, many moments that she sought advice, and there was many moments that we had debates. Keeping focus on her academics, Allison had no problem coming to me for advice. Whether it was AP courses or dual enrollment courses, she wanted to know which option was best for her future. Allison has successfully completed 21 dual enrollment credit hours. She was involved in chorus and multimedia productions. She has completed 365 community service hours. She plans to finish her associate's degree at Polk State and then transfer to a four-year university seeking a bachelor's in biology and a minor in broadcasting. I take great pleasure in introducing our valedictorian for our 2016 class. She's one of my four-year babies. Please welcome our class of 2016 valedictorian, Allison Damer.
Sorry, I'm short. Good evening, fellow graduates and their families. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, are you guys ready? We are the Titans, home of the rock. Now, as freshmen, this rock that stands in front of our school was very intimidating. A mountain that towered over many of us as a symbol for 4 years of emotional roller coasters, hard work, breakups, and discovering who you are as a person. The class of 2016 freshman edition definitely was not the greatest when conquering this mountain before them. I remember in a class of 420 students, 380 had at least one failing grade. That's a lot. We have definitely come a long way since then. As years continued on, the rock that was once an intimidating mountain began to shrink. We discovered not only how to be successful Titans, but also how to face society and its much larger obstacles. And now as seniors, we will look back at this rock as a grain of sand in the development of the foundation for the successful life we hold before us. But many of us fear what the future will bring. In 2013, Ed Helms said to Knox College, "Don't be afraid of fear, because it sharpens you, it challenges you, it makes you stronger, and when you run away from fear, you're running away from the opportunity to be your best possible self." With this, do not allow fear to hold you back and strive to be your best possible self. Whether that means going to college to major in a subject you love, enlisting in the military to serve your country, or simply going to work to save money. Whatever your dream may be, run into it head first, keeping in mind that no failure is okay as long as you stand back up and keep charging. In our government class, we learned, if you're not taking action, then you're being acted upon. So do not let fear act upon you. Everyone in this room is as special as the amount of force they put forth into their dreams. And no one in this room is subjected to be a doormat, as long as each one of you is taking action to better your life. In this room and beyond, there are many people who have influenced me to be my best possible self. I would like to take some time to recognize these individuals. First, I want to thank my mom, dad, and little sister. You guys have seen me at my worst and still managed to love me unconditionally. My mom has done an excellent job as a mother and has a best friend, while my dad proved to be an invincible man who expected me into his heart and has supported our family through all hardships doing so brought. Together, my family has held my hand through every adventure I have embarked on. Sorry, this is the emotional part. Anyway, continuing on from that. Together, my family has held my hand through every adventure I've embarked on from the beginning, and I am so lucky to have them. I am also lucky that this will not be the last time I am in this building for graduation, since in 4 years from now, my little sister will be walking on this stage to receive her diploma, which is great. I would also like to thank Mr. Looney for strongly leading the class of 2016. We are his freshman to senior class. Congratulations, guys. Mr. Looney, you have strongly led the class of 2016, and Tenorock High School would not be the same without you. I would also like to thank two strong women who went their own paths these last 4 years. Thank you to Ms. Pilkington for teaching me how to be an elegant, independent woman who can now perform best on stage and in life. And thank you to Ms. Renz, who taught me and many others the value behind commitment and how to follow through with dreams, no matter how hard they may seem to accomplish. And finally, I would like to thank you guys, the class of Tenorock's 2016 class. Thank you guys for holding together as a family the past several years of our lives. Families do not always get along. They fight, argue, spread rumors, and sometimes throw fists. However, amongst the turmoil and blurred lines between hatred and love, families can share some of the best laughs and memories. And as you all are leaving with your own story to tell about the Tenorock family, and we journey our separate ways, we will always and forever remain forever Titans. Thank you, guys.